Welcome to this video, guys. I'm excited to have a special guest here, Zach Lemaster, and we're going to cover a topic that we don't talk about too much on this channel because it's not specifically wholesaling and flipping, but I'm excited nonetheless, and it's been great, Zach, to get to know you. You're one of the most outstanding guys I've been able to get to know here in the real estate community, and you have so much knowledge, so much information to share. You're doing so much good in the community with the services that you provide. So we're going to get all into that here in a minute. But Zach, thank you for taking time to be on this video with me.
Hey, Jerry, pleasure's all mine. Thank you. We're excited to be here. We love the stuff that you guys are doing out there. And, also offering be able to take that hard-earned money and just continue to help people build their real estate portfolio strategically. So thank you.
Yeah, one of the things I love about you, Zach, is you take real estate and you really try to take it in a bigger perspective. I tend to talk about wholesaling and flipping, get that money in your bank account this month kind of thing. And you look at real estate in a much broader perspective, which is how do I do real estate investments that are going to allow me to retire and retire comfortably? How do I set up my real estate so that it continues to make money long after I'm gone and takes care of maybe my family? You look at real estate and say, don't play the short game, but play the long game. And whereas I play a lot of times the short game. Now, I have a long game perspective because I tell people play the short game to get into the long game. But what you've done is you've done a really unique method of helping people kind of cut through some of the learning curve to really build a passive income portfolio in residential real estate. So let's talk about that a little bit. First, tell us what your mindset is when it comes to real estate and what people really should be thinking about when they go out there and they get started and they start to acquire these assets, real estate assets. Why is that important and what can that do for somebody?
I love that you explained that the way you did, Jerry. Real estate is, in my opinion, the best means to create financial independence. We all know that there's more millionaires made through real estate than any other asset class for a reason. And it's one of the oldest investing avenues known to man. It's a human need. It's a necessity. And there's all sorts of tax benefits and, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that kind of the idea that attracts a lot of people to investing in real estate just fundamentally is the idea of having control of your finances. Whether you dislike your job or you just want more security to create a lifestyle, real estate is the best way to set yourself up to have financial independence long term. And you really do that through building your own long-term portfolio. We talk a lot with our investors. We go through different stages of financial independence. The first stage is, okay, now you're replacing your income, or actually the first stage is replacing your expenses. Second stage is, okay, now you're a little bit more of an active investor. You're replacing your active income. And then the third stage is really creating generational wealth. Where you can create that lifestyle and leave a legacy. And that's really what it boils down to. My story a little bit is that I got started in real estate when I was a captain in the Air Force. I was on a scholarship with the Air Force for optometry. My wife and I went to optometry school in Oregon. Then I spent 7 years in the Air Force practicing optometry. We started investing in real estate through wholesaling. A lot of the same strategies that you help people with today. I wish we would have had you as a buyer to make our process a little bit easier. But we basically continued to be active investors through that process, Jerry, and always acquiring real estate. We would make our active money in real estate, and then we would put it in buy and hold real estate to provide that consistent passive income over time. And I think that's just the best way to create, financial security long term.
Yeah, love that. So Zach, I released a video recently here on my YouTube channel, and it was a podcast interview I did. And in the video, I said, don't buy a rental property yet. And I went on to explain that when you first get into real estate, and this is just my opinion, I could be totally wrong, but I used high school as an analogy, and I said your freshman year is wholesaling because that's a low barrier to entry. Your sophomore year is fix and flip. You take on more risk, but it's active income. It's making some cash right now. You're not building anything long-term really, but you're making some money right now. And then your junior year is buy and hold, residential buy and hold. And then senior year might be multifamily or development or, bigger things, apartments or whatever. And the reason why I kind of think about that analogy is because a lot of people, when they get into real estate, they need cash more than cash flow. And I love what you said. You said you really kind of first want to focus on expenses, right? Using your passive income or using rental real estate maybe to cover your expenses, then maybe replace that active income, and then now it's build wealth. And so I think you kind of agree with me, maybe not exactly that way, but the overall idea is you want to progress yourself to a place where the real estate is building on itself. Wherever you're at, it's building on itself, whatever that looks like. And you've done a really unique job of helping people cut a lot of the learning curve with rental real estate by the services that you guys provide. So am I off on that? Am I okay on that? What would you say about kind of freshman, sophomore, junior, or kind of the way that you really should be looking at rental real estate?
I love that. I'm gonna start quoting you on that actually as a stepping stone. Just with our business, Jerry, we're rent to retirement we're a turnkey provider, and so we've built our active business by going out and finding the best markets to invest in and creating our teams and systems in those places to allow people to easily and passively acquire rental real estate where they don't have to do the heavy lifting, right? The rental's producing income on a monthly basis, and then it's in a market that's appreciating with high rental demand. We have all sorts of criteria, but it's an easy way for someone to kind of tap in to that market regardless of what they're doing on their own, right? Because we have found, not everyone wants to be an active investor. Some people do just want to own rental real estate, and that's an easy way for them to participate in rental real estate. But those of us that are kind of coming up through the real estate world to use this to really change our life and the trajectory of our family and finances. I love the analogy that you mentioned, because you gotta cut your teeth, you gotta learn it, and then you continue to grow up. But everyone that really builds wealth in real estate, ultimately you want to end up holding, right? You want to end up holding those properties long term. So
yeah, I'd like to talk to you about kind of the 3 or 4 major benefits of holding onto assets. We tend to think about cash flow, but that's not the only one. And oftentimes it's not even the biggest one, the benefit of holding on to real estate. But kind of going back to that a little bit, and just to kind of clarify, if you're watching this right now, when Zach says turnkey rental, he explained it this way. His team, they've become masters at identifying key markets that have amazing growth, high rental demand. And then their team does the acquisitions. They do the renovations if they need them. They do the tenant placement and property management. They do all of that, and they provide a turnkey, right? A done for you solution to basically step right into rental property ownership. And that's phenomenal, because a lot of times, man, there's so many mistakes that you learn in that initial phase of acquiring your own properties and building your own portfolio. So what you've done is you've kind of said, hey, let me take this major learning curve. Let me save you time, energy, mistakes. And if you're thinking more along the passive role of here they are, we can provide these for you, where you can step right into these cash flowing assets. And that's just a phenomenal service for people that want to get into rental real estate, but maybe don't have the time or the resources to find and manage these projects. So it provides a major solution to a lot of people, which is why, and you're really good at it. Like, I don't just say that because I know other turnkey providers, and you guys you have a really great history, really amazing reviews, and people are really happy with the service that you guys provide, which I'm excited to now talk about. So that just being able to provide that just solves such a big solution for people.
Well, thank you, Jerry. We appreciate that. Obviously, as any industry, it's hard, I think, in this space to really earn a good reputation, and that's important to us. That's what's rewarding to us. Is to help people be successful and see that for many years. But I think rental real estate long term for us is really what's allowed us to retire early from our active career path and create a lifestyle similar to yourself, where you can live where you want and have consistent residual income, and you're growing your net worth. I know we want to dive into the different areas of how rental real estate can grow your wealth over time, which really is, right, we talked about cash flow, but then there's also the benefits of appreciation.
Yep.
There's the tax benefits and depreciation. You know, you're using leverage over time, which is just like, that's how you really grow your portfolio. And let me tell you, if you're an active investor out there and you're earning money through flipping and wholesaling, things like this, and you can claim real estate professional status and then couple that with buying long-term rental real estate that then you can do like depreciation, accelerated depreciation with cost segregations on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's very realistic that if you buy enough real estate, passive real estate, you can completely wipe out the taxes on your active income potentially.
Let's talk about that. So that's a very fascinating conversation for me. You know, once you start producing income, what I teach people is, hey, go wholesale, go flip. If you do it the way I show you how to do it, you're going to start earning 6 figures, mid 6 figures. If you get really good at it, high 6 figures, and me 7 figures. I make millions of dollars a year flipping real estate, which is all taxed as ordinary income, which puts me in the highest tax bracket. And you really have 2 solutions. Move to Puerto Rico, which is a Band-Aid. That's what I did because it solves it as long as you're in Puerto Rico. But if you ever come home, you step right back into that tax bracket. So now I got to convince my wife to stay here forever, or I got to do what Zach does and teaches how to do, which is acquire depreciating assets. So the cash flow is amazing. Appreciation, meaning it goes up in value over time, is amazing. But without a doubt, if you're a high income earner, which I hope everybody watching this, if you're not right now, you will be at some point. If you're a high income producing earner, depreciating assets is so valuable to you, because what the government says, what the IRS says, is it says, if you own these assets long term, we'll allow you to take a portion of the total asset and write it off, you know, on single family, 27.5 years, subtracting out the land value, right? Will allow you to write that off as an expense, a non-cash expense, meaning it's lowering your taxable income. Get enough assets, you're going to offset and wipe out nearly a lot or nearly all of your taxable income. And that's how really wealthy people don't pay taxes. They own enough depreciating assets that it wipes out their taxable income. And that's just massive.
It's huge, right? And if you think about it, I mean, taxes are our largest expense, right? And if you're being successful and earning a bunch of income, you know, it's less about what you earn and more about what you keep, right? And so you really got to be strategic about what type of industry and investments you're making to be able to offset that. Because yeah, you can give yourself a 50%, you know, raise just by, you know, having the appropriate tax strategies in place.
Well, think about it this way, Zach. I mean, this is where I was at before moving to Puerto Rico. The highest income tax bracket is 37%. So if you're making whatever it is, you're going to fall into 37% federal income tax. Then you add your state on top of that. So if you're not in Florida or Texas or whatever, I was in Arizona, so another 6 or 7, or I think they bumped it to 9. You know, you're 40-some% income tax. That's half your income is going to your tax. Whereas rather than writing those checks to the government in taxes, you're writing those checks for down payments on properties. Now those properties, you have enough of them, it's going to completely offset that taxable income. And you're getting the cash flow and the appreciation as like bonus. It's like bonus.
That's how you get that compounding effect. And Jerry, that's how people, and that's what really gets me fired up. I mean, I love cash flow. We have a very large portfolio personally at this point in time, because we follow this exact strategy, right? Is building our own portfolio. We practice what we preach, and we love real estate because of that. But that allows you to expedite your investing, right? And your compounding effect. And then you take those profits and then those properties, potentially 1031 them. I mean, this is the long game, right? But if you can be more strategic with reducing your tax structure right now, yeah, it just sets you up for so much more success and to expedite your success. And Turnkey is a great way for people to, at least in our business, what we see is we have some people that are interested in owning real estate for, whatever the case is, additional tax benefits or what have you. And they just want to be a passive investor. They just want to invest in real estate. Those that are really passionate about it and active investors, which is probably a majority of your community, the rental real estate is, you can own rental real estate in a lot of different states, but you have to build up your teams and systems in place. This is a very easy path where we've already done that heavy lifting for you and have a track record to stand by, where someone, regardless of what you're doing on your active investing, you can easily diversify, scale quicker than maybe you can on your own,
Definitely.
and really build your portfolio with a team that's already established in place and tap into these different markets.
And
And
that's
that's
what,
where you get that compounding effect.
yeah, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So for my audience listening right now, if you're a wholesaler or a flipper, here's what I would propose you do. I still really strongly believe in you've got to create that active income that's going to allow you to get out of debt, pay your bills, meet your obligations, hopefully quit your job and create enough income where you can sustain your lifestyle just flipping. But that's short term. That's not solving your long-term retirement doing that. You've got to reinvest. So what I recommend is keep your eye on the ball, keep wholesaling, keep flipping, rather than go create an entire rental model, which is its own animal. Tap into Zach and his team. They've done this. They've got it all figured out. They're really, really good at it. Now, every 10th flip you do, or as soon as you've got enough cash set aside, that's extra income. Now take that and invest that in a turnkey rental with Zach. Use that to get the down payment to buy or whatever it takes to acquire that property. Allow their team to do all that heavy lifting. Now, what are you doing? You're building up your portfolio. Start now, right? But you're not jeopardizing your flipping business. You're actually adding to it. You're picking up a rental, picking up another one. If you were to strategically do that with Zach's team, they're going to take on, again, the bulk of the heavy lifting so that you can keep your eye on the ball, keep flipping. Before you know it, you're going to have 10 rentals, 20 rentals, 50 rentals. You keep that momentum, and you've got now something substantial. Now you want to get out of the flipping game or whatever you want to do. You've now built up an amazing portfolio that's going to give you it's going to offset your taxes for flipping. It's going to give you that cash flow. You're going to be appreciating on these assets. And it's really a smart way to coincide with your flipping and wholesaling, I think. So that would be my suggestion. Zach, do you agree with that as a model if you're talking to a flipper or a wholesaler?
There's so many flippers and wholesalers and people that are active out there that make a significant amount of money, Jerry, and they don't put it back into real estate, and that is the long game. It's what is your end plan here, because that's an active business. And really, I think the idea of financial independence is being able to have that consistent mailbox money through and building your wealth through all those things we talked about, regardless if you're working or not. Flipping and wholesaling is an exceptional way to learn real estate and be able to take control of your career path, and then placing that. I mean, that's how the real estate game is won, right? Long term is taking that active money, putting it into buy and hold assets, creating that generational wealth for your family long term. That's how you change the trajectory of your family. That's exactly what we've done. I started in wholesaling, right? I mean, that was my entry point into real estate. And
Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm proud to say that every single year, because I was in the military. I bought my first house was a duplex, house hacked it, lived in half, rented out the other half. And we held that for many years. Every single year since that, Jerry, we've bought more and more real estate, and all the money that we've actively made from real estate, every single penny we've put it back into real estate, into holding our portfolio, to the point where we've built 7-figure income annually from our real estate portfolio, whether we're working or not. And, that's how you create generational wealth.
Yeah, that's really cool. And what I love about your service, Zach, that you guys do also is somebody can get on the phone with you guys. You're going to walk through and talk to them about their situation. You're going to advise them on, is now the right time to get your first or whatever number, but get one of these rental properties, and help them create a roadmap to what this could look like. What I say is, when you sit down with Zach's team, tell them what your goals are. Tell them, here's what I hope to do. Here's the passive income I hope to accomplish. They'll map it out for you. They'll help you see the vision of what you can do, how many properties you're going to need to get to reach those goals, and put you on a roadmap, right? Create a roadmap for you to get there. You got to start. That's just it. The hardest part is starting. I don't care where you're at. If you're still working on your first wholesale deal, maybe there's a way for you to start thinking about, how do I build a rental portfolio at the same time? Again, my suggestion is, don't take your eye off the ball. If you're going to say to me, Jerry, I'm going to go do all the work to create a rental program and try to flip, I think you're taking on too much. focus on wholesaling, get those checks, focus on fix and flip, get those checks, reinvest that money into a turnkey solution they're going to do all that intense work for you while you keep building your flipping business. I think that's a smart way to go. So if you're interested in that, we're going to put a link in the description below. And when you click on that link, it's going to take you to an application. It's going to allow you to schedule a call with Zach and his team. And again, they're going to get on the phone with you and they're going to walk you through exactly what this looks like, answer all your questions. And if it's not the right time, they'll tell you, hey, it's not the right time. Here's what you need to do. Here's what you need to do to be ready for your first property, and help you create that roadmap to get there. And what I love, Zach, too, is you've offered to do some really cool stuff just for my audience, you listening right now. That link will give you some special things. What do they get for that, Zach?
Yeah, well, we love the community that you've built, Jerry, and we're going to offer essentially a $500 closing cost credit. You can use that to buy your interest rate down. You can use it for closing costs. That's exclusively for your community. So just make sure to use a promo code Jerry, and we'll pay you $500 on your first rental. Awesome,
love that. That's great. And guys, the rental demand right now is really strong. You know, I pay really close attention. I'm sure you do too, Zach. But you know, we're not meeting the demand of housing. The rental rates are really high. They're going up and up and up right now because there's just not enough rental property to meet the demand. It's an amazing time to be investing in residential real estate. And so if we always ask the question, is now the right time? Now is definitely the right time to be getting into some rental real estate and start building that portfolio. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's a long game, right? So when is the best time to plant a tree? 20 years ago, when is the best time? You know, the next best time today. And same thing with buying a rental. You know, it's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. You buy rental real estate, let it do what it does over time, appreciate, let the tenant pay the loan down, let rents go up over time, take those tax benefits, you know, rinse and repeat, and build that nest egg.
Love that. Awesome. Well, Zach, any final thoughts? What would you share with somebody who's thinking about getting into rental real estate? What kind of thought process would you recommend they have to really gain a long-term perspective on building a portfolio of rental properties?
If you're not an experienced investor and this is your first rental or potentially first rental out of state, that can be a little bit daunting. I mean, just like we talked about when we interviewed you, Jerry, is you know, that first deal is just completely mental and emotional, and it's so fundamental that you get that done. This is just the learning process. So I'd encourage anyone, I mean, have a consultation with our team. When we talk about turnkey is a house that's fully renovated. It's already renovated. It's newly built. Half of what we do is new construction. We have single family, multifamily, commercial development projects across 11 different markets that are leased and managed. And our team is going to walk you through the whole process and help you build that strategy plan long term. So it's okay if you don't really know where to start or you're concerned about investing out of state. Talk to us about those concerns and let us help, you know, show you a roadmap of how you can accomplish your long-term investment goals through rental real estate. But it's all about taking action, and that comes with anything, right?
Yeah, definitely. So I love that. Okay. Well, thank you, Zach. Great talking with you. Excited about turnkey rental. You know, we don't talk about rentals. In fact, sometimes I'm often negative about rentals. I don't mean to be. If you guys have heard me talk negatively about rentals, it was only coming from a perspective of the right order of things, right? And the right way to start getting into rental and passive income. It just needs to be the right timing and the right solution for those rental properties. But excited to see that, and a big believer in what you're doing, Zach. And thank you for all that you do for the community. Guys, be sure to click that link, talk to Zach's team, and see if starting to get some rental properties is the right fit for you.
Thanks for watching the Rent to Retirement YouTube channel. Check out some of our other videos, like this one, or this one here.